try that again. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Jumpstart. So this week we're doing something a little bit different than you're used to. We're doing our compositional studies. And today we start our third one. We started Monday with the portrait for this month. Yesterday we did the moon rising over Avila for our landscape. And then today we're going to do the sunflower for the still life. So last month we were mixing colors, and we mixed for this reference. And if you guys will recall, we talked about the movement across being just like this. Okay, so let's review what the compositional study is all about. And the purpose is to size and place a few big masses, values, and divisions. Right? The other purpose is, again, not to get something finished that you're super proud of. Of course, that's good, but you're trying to do something, and what you're trying to do while you're doing this composition is gain the vision to see the entire thing very simply. So this isn't really about investigating a bunch of little details. This is the other side of the equation. The big, simple pieces. Okay? And we want to think about the eye path for the viewer, as well as the format for the canvas. Simply meaning, what are the dimensions? Is it a 1 by 1, 1 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by 4? Like that. So today's is going to be a 12 by 16 painting, and so we're going to do a 9 by 12 study. So for our still life, what are the main masses to size and place? Well, light, shadow, and background, right? Along with this, we need that dark of the vase. Okay, we talked about the main movement in still life is across because it's shallow when compared to a landscape, right? And then it's going to have both form to go around, not as much as a portrait, and it's going to have near to far as well, right? The front side, the back side, the front side of the table, the back side of the table, the near flower, the far flower. But again, it won't be to the degree that's in our landscape. Okay, the main movement, like we talked, is shallow across. Still lifes tend to be a little more intimate, right? And we're going to be working with light, shadow, and to repeat, form and near to far. Okay, so there's that dark that we talked about, right? It's kind of our anchor. Our light is made from the shadow of the table, and the shadow of the table starting over here. And then we're going to build here. We're going to let down here. Have another little thing here. And then wear off. Okay, so we're going across the canvas, meaning not real depth, but we want to give them a good journey across the surface, more or less. Okay, enough of that, I think. I think. So we will set our timer, and we will get going on our still life. Let's see, we got Miss Shakti here this morning. Good morning, Shakti. Welcome. Oh, thanks. That was the little study we did in last month's class. So looking forward to painting that this month. That will be fun. So let's talk about those things, right? As in, if that light's coming across here, up and around, can we just do it? Does it matter if it's down here and goes up here and then comes across there, or does it matter if it's here? It matters tremendously. So some of these things that matter the most are things that just get skipped over. we're so concentrated, how are we going to make that pattern on that tablecloth, that we forgot about all the larger steps it's going to take before we even consider that. So the first thing I want to do is kind of find my movement around here. Right? If you were doing a figure, this would be kind of your gesture. What feels good? Does it feel good to just march like a soldier straight across there? Well, that's not much of a soldier march to start with, but not really. Not really. What if that light dappled in on the table? Maybe this was all shadow right here. And then that light just started to dapple on the table here. And maybe there's a little more dappling of the light before the light grew into more of a solid piece. Before we had sunflower petals and a cherry against a pear. Off of that pear, we've got all kinds of leaves and stuff going that we can use our light and our shadow to get them turning back this way. And we've got that sunflower there at the top. And so if this is the lowest point over here, this is the furthest point over here. This is the furthest point over. These are the things I'm thinking about, right? Because it's appropriate to be thinking about these things at this point. I'm not worried about that pear or this or that. I don't even care where those leaves are because I'm designing this, right? We're not copying a photograph, but we're designing a beautiful piece of art. So in order to design that, the location of all of this matters. So all of this is for, well, where's the highest point over here going to be? Should I put it right here? Well, it's not really unless we need that stability, that division. No. Right here? No. How about right there? Right? Can you feel how much more dynamic that is? So what we're doing, what I sneakily did to you guys this morning, ooh, Jason, why do you do things to people? Well, it's half her fault. It's half her fault. Hey, Miss Reenie, good morning.
Gotta hit the timer.
Good morning. Gotta hit the timer. We're already late. All right, so we'll go to about 5 minutes. I think we've been on 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about here, more than just the gesture and how we're going to move across, I'm thinking about how I'm going to pace you. Like where at, in particular, exactly where along this journey are we going to slow down? Where across this journey might we speed up? And then where across this journey might we fall off? Okay, I know if this is the first time you're ever hearing this, this may be completely overwhelming. And why am I doing this, and why does that have to do with the reference? Well, again, our reference is there as a reference. But we're not here to copy what already exists. We're here to create something because we're artists. What artists do is they create. Okay, we're creators. So we want to see what raw materials are, and then how should we use them. And one of the best things you can do, because when the buyer buys this from me, like, let's see, exactly how many times I've been selling paintings, I think over 25 years now. So over 25 years of selling paintings and sketches. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Not one. Not one of those collectors ever asked to see the reference. They don't care about the picture. They care about the art. Okay? So your responsibility is making the most out of these few square inches that we have to work with. Okay? And I slow down to say that because this reorientation is the key to really getting this. All right, so we're going to start very slowly over here and wiggle and waggle our way up and around before we hit pretty solid down here. So there'll be a lot of activity here. And then we're going to kind of get moving and meander through there. I mean, that was, whoo, we need time to process that. That was a lot, right? We don't want to go from the Rolling Stone concert right into Metallica concert, right into, oof, that's just, well, for me, that's way, way too much. For most people, it's too much. So give them a little rest, and then, how about another high point? How about another high point somewhere in here, right? Another most. Before we, oh, such a nice night. Thanks, yeah, this was so good. Okay, see you tomorrow, bye. So along with your movement across, we want to think about the viewer's journey. The journey of their eye and the experiences we're giving them. Okay, so this is actually what we're painting. What we just talked about is our subject matter, much, much, much more so than that. Okay? So that is not important. What is important is that your thoughts are clear about this. When I say this, I'm talking about the entirety of this image you're about to create. I'm not talking about a particular place, but I'm talking about the piece of paper as a whole. So what I've done is this is tabletop. There's going to be flower petals. There's going to be a cherry. There's going to be a petal. There's going to be eucalyptus silver dollar leaves. There's going to be sunflowers. There's going to be all kinds of other detritus hanging around here. So, yeah, you heard that right. I treated a tabletop, flower petals, a cherry, a pear, silver dollar eucalyptus, sunflowers, and detritus as exactly the same thing. I see no difference in them. And by taking those categories out of my mind and freeing my mind from those categories, it allows me then to create something like this. But if you are determined to see a pear, it's going to be much harder getting the unity in this movement, because your unity is going to be tried to be made up of very individual objects. That's not how we get unity. Okay, so again, I know I've gone on, but I cannot stress enough that what you are drawing, what you are painting, is the problem. Is where 99.99% of you are not there yet. You're still drawing and painting the wrong things. Okay? Does that make sense? So what I'm going to be drawing today is an idea. And the idea is how I want to move the viewer's eye across this surface not only where I want them to go, but how fast I want them to go, how long I want them to stay, and when I want them to move on. That is my subject matter. And that is where the finish comes from. The finish comes from right here. Nothing that we can do, a little detail or anything at the end, is going to be of any use if we don't have this. Okay, again, what is our subject matter? What are we trying to accomplish? That's always so important. And the answer is beauty. Well, do you want a beautiful farm, a beautiful car, a beautiful garden? No, 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 no. A beautiful flat surface. That is our subject matter. Okay? All right, so now that I haven't left myself much time, let's see what we can do. So, Jason, that was inspiring. I never thought about that before. Just brilliant. But what do I do with that? How do I proceed with that information? Well, we're going to proceed by what do we see? When you're trying to find your way, do you need it to be dark or do you need it to be light? Do we say, oh, darken the way? No, we say, here, let me light your way. So we see by light. But in order to put down what we see, it's got to lay on top of what? What we don't see. That's the key. So in other words, we want to kind of, in a way, take all of this away so that we have an unobstructed eye path. Okay, so back to reality. So now that I have an idea of where this pair action is going to happen, I can come over here and get very precise on where would I like that to happen. I think I'm going to drop this down just a little bit, that pair. We could make the side of the table maybe. We wouldn't even have to really put the side of the table in. Do we want that side of the table? No. You didn't realize this, did you? But in this world, I'm God. And guess what? On your piece of paper, you're God. You're in charge. You make the decision. So, forget the side of the table. That's my decision. And then we can bring that pair a little further down. So what's the difference between bringing this pair further down and pushing it further up? Well, it's this versus this. That's how you need to see the placement of the pair for the function it performs. Light without shadow has no substance. And that cherry's right there, isn't it? Wow, I was interested till I saw that you can't draw. No, 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 no. I'm not trying to draw a pear. I'm trying to see the general location of where this shadow goes. Because this shadow is something that I can do with a burnt piece of wood. With a burnt piece of wood, I can't make a pear, but I can make a dark mark. So right now I'm placing and sizing this dark mark. I know it looks like I'm drawing a pear stem and a cherry and a pear shadow and a cash. I'm drawing a dark mark that's going to hold our path. Okay, and so if these darks need to show up, what's required? Well, what's required is that they're surrounded by light. Because if I surround them by dark, those dark marks disappear except for this edge. So we've got to be thinking in the logic of either dark against light or light against dark. Because that covers our first principle, which is what? Visibility. Visibility. So the first thing I'm working on and placing is the visibility of this piece. Again, I hope everybody's picking up that shift into what I'm doing versus what you've been doing. Because that really is the key to mastery, to understanding, to improvement. There's a little bit of skill, but if you can write your name, you've got enough skill. It's more in what problem are you solving or what are you actually sketching. You said that already. I know, but think about the number of times I say it is equivalent to how important it is. Right? This is so important, and it's not an easy thing to do. We've been seeing and thinking about visuals a certain way our entire life. And now I'm challenging you to see and think about visuality completely different. Not enough time in a little short 30-minute course to go all into that, but go to the dance with me and there's more where that came from. All right, little humor. So not a great design here, but again, this is more about just placing these things. Why am I not too worried about this? Oh, just because you never worry about Jace? No, I'm a pretty uptight guy. But I don't worry about it because it doesn't matter at this point. Look how easy it is to get rid of that. Oh, I made a mistake. That was junior high. Don't worry about that. Again, am I copying what I see? Say no, because you took away what we see, Jason. I know. But it's because we rely on it too much. You need to rely on your mind, on your ideas. Let's see, if this top thing's here, then the other thing is, where do I want that anchor? That anchor. So if that handle was there and that handle was there, is that going to give us what we want? Is that going to give us what we want? I don't know. Where's the center of this thing? Here. Here. I don't think we want it too far off center. But we do want it offset. So yeah, that's probably about right. Something like that. But do you see how easy drawing is? Because we're not drawing in the sense that most people think about drawing as an exact replication, which there is no such thing, just in case you're wondering. There is no such thing. And that's why it doesn't make much sense to try to do it. or one of the reasons. Right? Wait, what? Huh? All I'm thinking about, I'm not trying to trace an exact what's going on over here. What's this negative space? Oh, that's too hard, man. It's early in the morning. I'm just getting started. Come on, man. Lay off. Lay off. I'm simply looking for how wide is it versus how tall is it. The overall size in relation to what I already have down. Okay, again, the key to all of this, because after you have a little experience, you can see, whoa, this can get really complicated really fast. But if we see and keep it simple, then we can always be in control. We can always do something, right? We don't want to be at the mercy of the paper. We want the paper to be at our mercy, right? We want to be in control of the bicycle. Here, let's just start going down this hill real fast. No, but that's how a lot of people draw and paint. So how simple can you see it? How simple can you see it? So what I want to do is up here, this is going to be that last little sunflower coming out like that. We're going to have a big sunflower in shadow, a little bit of light right about here. Look, how difficult is it to draw these sunflowers? Oh, it's difficult. Oof, it's difficult. No, you see it simply. It's up to you on how you look at it. Did you realize that? Everybody thinks there's a certain way things are. Certain way things are, but unless I misunderstood, isn't that what Einstein put to rest? Did Einstein say things aren't a certain way, it just depends on where you are in relation to them? And where you are in relation to the thing completely changes the thing, quote unquote. Okay, so what do we got here? Well, we've got a big thing here. We know we've got to design all. Did you guys notice how I just skipped that? Did you guys notice how I've just skipped that too? How can, because I'm not seeing this. I'm seeing this. And I'm seeing in this entirety, what are our main big characters? Let's get those guys placed. Then we can bring the supporting roles in. The background actors. Right? But let's decide on this main relationship and what we're trying to do there. And then let all of these other guys support this. So it's so important to be able to prioritize and show the hierarchy of things. Understand the hierarchy on things in the visual world. In the visual world. Okay, so we've got some flower petals, leaves, some eucalyptus leaves up here before we hit that shoulder. Right, and that flower is going to come down like that. And that other shoulder is going to be about right here. So let's just see how this feels, and we can do that by massing it in. Do you guys see how even with a few marks across, I get a better sense of the wholeness of this thing, the size of this thing, the space it occupies? Much, much, much more so than outlining it. And that's why we mass these things in, is again to get a sense of how big it is. Again, if I need to change this shape a little bit, yeah, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Right? This is my little baby. I'll do anything for my little baby. I'll do anything for my little baby. right? So I say that and I joke in that way to show you you're in charge. This is your piece. Don't be a victim to what's in front of you. Right? Don't see it as a cage to climb into. See your reference as a gate to walk through. Right? So this bass, oh my God, forget all that. You got this line. How does this relate to, is it equal? Is it less? Is it more? Ask the simple questions. Ask the simple questions. Because if you answer them right, it's enough. Now, hopefully, most of you have a sense that even though this is very crass and crude, there's still something of a sense of balance happening. It's still dynamic already. If you trace something around with an outline around it, does that make the piece more dynamic or less dynamic? Right? Are you trying to suck all the life, all the dynamism, all the dynamics out of this thing and make it as cold and heartless as possible? Or are you trying to bring this thing alive? Right? Make it exciting. Make it beautiful. Make it leap off the wall. Well, that's dynamic, not caged. Right? To outline is to cage things. We want to set things free. Show them in their natural environment. Well, at least I do. And if you're hanging around, I'm assuming you kind of dig what I do. And so I'm showing you the way I think, the problems I think about, the problems I pose. That's what it really means when I say you're the God of this paper. You're in charge. This all up to you. It means these decisions are yours. What decision? Literally the decision as to what problem you're going to solve. When people first start, they think there's one answer to one problem. No. That's nowhere close to what's happening. The good artists have discovered what problems are worth solving. What problems, when you solve those problems, does that affect the beauty of the canvas the most? Why? Because we said we want to do this. If we don't keep them in with a riverbank, they're just going to keep going straight off the canvas. That's why. Why? Because if we don't, they're going to go straight off the canvas. Are we going to let the viewer do what they want? Or are we giving them a tour of our canvas? Right? Do you ever have a party at your house? Hopefully not. Hopefully nobody's going to say yes to this, but if you do, this doesn't apply to you. If you ever have a party at your house, do you say, come on in, yeah, feel free, go through my drawers, my underwear drawer, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it? No. And hopefully, most of your guests, if not all your guests, would be very uncomfortable at that prospect. Again, if that doesn't apply to you, well, that's a different lifestyle, yeah, whatever. But I think for most of us, we'd prefer people not ruffle through our underwear drawer. Does that mean you should get rid of your underwear drawer? Just quit wearing underwear? Well, that's not quite what I'm saying. But we like to have people over, but, right, they're expected to stay within boundaries. Right? Those boundaries aren't limitations. They give us a place where we can interact and everybody be comfortable. A drawing is the same way. The viewer wants the boundaries. Right? They don't want you talking the entire time they're there at 1,000,000 miles a minute, telling them every detail about the weave of your carpet and the texture of your walls and the 2x4s that were used to make the frame of the house. That's probably not going to make for a good visit. So why do you think every single detail to the nth degree is going to make for a pleasant viewing experience? It's not. So then we've got to ask ourselves, what does make a pleasant viewing experience? And then when you're onto those questions, that's the right answer. How is that possible? Because the right questions are the answer. Solving the right posing the right problems is the answer for the artist. Right? What problems are you posing to solve? And you need to pose the problems that are going to be most effective in making a beautiful two-dimensional flat surface. Now, we don't want it to appear flat when we're done, but in essence, this is just a two-dimensional flat surface with an area. Happens to be 9 by 12 right now. 9 inches by 12 inches. But it's nothing more or less than that. But within that, there's tremendous freedom. There's tremendous freedom. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. And you guys, you know what? I feel great about this. I feel great. This is a great way to spend 30 minutes. This was a really good investment of 30 minutes. Not because I solved every problem, but because I began to solve the fundamental problems. So what I've done is I've started the finish. Then tonight what I'll do is I'll work and I'll continue, and I continue by finishing the start, as some of you may have heard Mr. LaFell say. Okay, so that's what starting the finish and finishing the start. Well, we got to start the finish. We didn't get to finish the start today. So, all right, let's see how everybody's doing here. All right, a little late. You got it, Susan. Thank you. It makes my day, too. I know, I'd be an old grumpy such and such if it wasn't for this beautiful lady right here on my shoulder. For sure, for sure. Thank you, Susan. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back tonight on Sketch Club on Facebook to do the second part of this. In the meantime, as this comes through, I'll get this processed and up onto the school site, so you'll have access to that. On the school site, this lesson will probably be divided into 2, just because of the space we're allowed on the school site for each video. All right, everybody. We'll see you tonight. Have a beautiful day. And I hope this was extraordinarily helpful. As a reminder, Friday will be Friday feedback in the school. So after you've done your drawings, please get them sent in and label them Friday feedback. All right? It's going to be a lot of fun, no matter how you think your drawing turned out. Let us see it. Let us talk about it. I don't have to use your name if you don't want to, but this is a lesson, and that's what we're here for is, wait, this doesn't look right. Why? Right? If you're only going to show me things you're super proud of, you can get friends to do that. Let me be a little more valuable to you. All right, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you guys tonight. Bye-bye, everybody.